Tis the Law in front with 3/16 to the finish. Tis the Law has a 4-length lead. He's left the others behind.
Live from the backstretch at historic Saratoga Racecourse, this is Racing Across America. Racing Across America is brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. The Leah Auto Group, Leah Cars for life. Find them on the web at leahcars.com. The new Capital OTB wagering platform. Bet any place, anytime with the new Capital OTB wagering platform. CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier wagering site in New York State. And the Clubhouse Racebook. Can't make it to the track? Make it to the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
Good morning and welcome to the Wednesday edition of Racing Across America. Brian Nadeau with you. We kick off week 6 here at Saratoga. That's Alabama weekend. That's a little scary, and we'll get right to it in a second. As you can see, Joe Clancy of the Saratoga Special, and this is horse racing to my right, your left. On a day where we know some of the races are off the turf, there's a big pick 6 carryover. Knock on wood, Joe, as I bring you in. We hope and think. I keep on saying that the New York Turf Riders, but if there was ever a race that should be renamed, it was the former New York Turf Riders in the newly minted Jonathan Shepherd.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. What a cool tribute to a guy. I mean, he won the race 15 times. 15, which is amazing to think about. And the race goes on. It has a cool history. It goes way back, and they obviously named it after the Turf Riders for a reason back then.
Right.
And it goes back to the 20s, and Jonathan won his first in 1979, I think. I knew all this last night when I wrote it. And then won his 15th was 2019. So pretty amazing when you look at it.
And as you said, it's a race steeped in history. So it's not just, let's just change the name of this race. It's due. No, it probably, there was a lot of thought into that. And if maybe Jonathan won it 4 times, I don't think they were changing the name of the historic New York Turf Riders.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it sort of became, once he announced his retirement and a way to do a tribute for somebody and a guy who's won the race, yeah, he's won it 15 times. Like you said, I don't think if he'd won it 3, 4, 5 times, it would be nearly as big a deal.
Right.
And just to see it like that, and it's such a record. Yeah. And it's a great honor. It makes all the sense in the world.
I was fortunate in the many years I worked for you and Sean and the Steeplechase Times and the paper and ST Publishing and all that good stuff. I was fortunate to build somewhat of a relationship with Jonathan. I always kind of remember you guys, you call him. He doesn't want to talk to us. You call him. So I would talk to him for about 30 minutes. We've got a picture of Jonathan, and he retired earlier this year after a long, storied, historic Hall of Fame career. Chained a lot of great immortals of the hurdle game, but I always say that the dinner trivia question, by the way, he changed Stormcat. You know that. I mean, how many people know that? Breeders' Cup winner of Informed Decision and Forever Together. I know you talked about him with him, as he's off to retirement. How is he doing? And just talk a little bit about the man, the myth, and the legend. As good a horseman as we've ever seen, right?
Yeah, I mean, and you wouldn't find one better, or you'd have a big argument to make. And I think his strength was treating horses like horses, and that's the ability to be able to train a horse like Stormcat, who obviously had tons of speed, was a really good 2-year-old. He had Flatterer, who was the best steeplechaser in the barn at the same time, and you talk to Grand Motion, they would gallop together sometimes, Informed Decision was a really good sprinter, and then could train horses to go 2 miles, 3 miles, that kind of thing. So the strength was the ability to approach each horse as an individual and to do what the horse needed to do to be its best at whatever it did, and I think he did that for years and years and years. I talked to, like you, I have had tons of conversations with the guy in person, on the phone, whatever, driving around in his car, which sometimes was a little dicey, a little life-threatening, but, and fascinating guy to get into, to talk about horses like that. And we had a conversation yesterday. He's retired in Florida with his wife Kathy, right near Gulfstream. Says he doesn't watch that much racing. Says he literally said, "I'm enjoying the good life." So you would imagine all that success and training would have come with some pressure, and it's all off now. So we should all get a chance to do that. And seemed good. We reminisced a little bit. I asked him about his favorite Turf Riders winner, and he He went to Flatterer, but I think if you called him tomorrow, he might come up with another one. So the best thing about Flatterer, he won the Turf Riders in 80. Again, I knew this yesterday. Dang it. 84, I think. In 85, he was entered again, and no one would run against him. And Naira brought the race back as a 2-mile flat race at Belmont.
Wow.
And Flatterer ran it and was third.
That's amazing.
So, and again, that's the depth of the guy and the horses he had over the years.
So, I mean, when I worked for you, we had McDynamo and Shirt, and they were Hall of Fame steeplechase horses. You talk about Flatterer real quickly. Jonathan, by the way, won a race up here 47 years in a row, which is, ridiculously impossible. How good was we always want to compare and talk horses. He was before my time, probably before a lot of people's time. How good was Flatterer? He set the bar, correct?
Yeah, he was in the 80s, so I was in high school and college and things, and my father had horses. We'd try to run against him and usually lose, but he was really good, and he was just really efficient. He was a homebred that they bred. They raced him on the flat a bunch. He ran in Pennsylvania.
With Bill Pape?
Yeah,
okay.
He and Bill Pape were partners, and George Harris came in later, and just a really good out-and-out stayer type steeplechaser, and they took him all over him. He won in Saratoga, he won at Belmont, he won the Colonial Cup, which is 2 3/4 miles. Right. He won the Iroquois, which is 3 miles. They went to England and ran him in the Champion Hurdle. He was second there. He went to France and ran and was second there. And just. Yeah, he would have been, I'm sure the 70s guys have their horse. The 80s people would say it was certainly Flatterer. Lonesome Glory was the horse of the 90s. McDynamo was early 2000s. Goodnight Shirt was after that. And, I don't think we have a star coming along at any of those levels. Flatterer once he set the record. He carried 176 pounds to win at Radnor. Wow. Just a fabulous horse.
Well, that's a good segue to today. Front and center of today's Jonathan Shepherd. At 1:05 in the p.m., 2 3/8 miles. You kind of alluded to it. We don't have a star today. Let's take a look at the Smithwick, which was won kind of in a romp by Baltimore Bucko. We'll take a look at the second lap, basically. Just kind of go through not only this race, Joe, but a lot of the main contenders are back today. Baltimore Bucko, I always say this, the people are probably sick of me saying it, but the one thing I do remember from you guys is weight is a big deal. Picks up 14 pounds today and is gone from, maybe the hunter to the hunted. Yeah. How is he right back today?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and I think he really took control of this race.
On the lead here.
They put him on the lead. He really actually just galloped along nice and easy. And right before this video started, Tom Garner, as they went under the wire, looked behind him, like under his areas again, taking a peek. And, that's how well he's traveling. He's like, well, where are they? And the horse just galloped everybody into the ground. Everything changes today. He picks up a lot of weight. Horses who were giving him weight last time, he's now giving weight to. And that's just the product of the handicap. This horse, French Light, on the far left of the screen, ran up here like he was going to run by him, and then Baltimore Bucko just had more because he'd done really nothing the whole way around.
Right.
Will he be able to do that again? I don't know. Will he be able to do it and give away weight again? Gets a little trickier.
And now I never like to look too much into the jockey's musical chairs, but Kerry Bjorn, Jonathan's former longtime assistant, has got 4 of them in here, and we're going to show the Mean Queen in a second. And Thomas Gardner rode Baltimore Bucko, now is on the Mean Queen. Are we supposed to make anything of that or what?
We can if we want. I talked to Tom yesterday.
Okay.
He said he was going to be hard-pressed to make a decision. He left it in Carrie's hands. She left him on the Mean Queen. I think the Mean Queen can be a little tricky, as we saw, and probably wants the guy who's ridden her more in races stay with her.
We'll go right to it after this now. We're going to bring up the Mean Queen, who Mike Callahan and I, joked that, when you bet a steeplechase race, you got your fingers crossed to clear all the hurdles. And they do that, and they do it pretty darn nicely. And then it kind of goes to hell in deep stretch at 1-2 in a common gallop. What happened with the Mean Queen, Joe? What we know, she's a heck of a hurdle horse, right? A real talent.
Definitely. I mean, she's done nothing wrong. The only thing she's done is win and run through conditions, and obviously, just like the flat, they get a tougher assignment every time. So she's got a right to be a little bit green. She got here, kind of motors on by here, takes the lead again.
We just saw the outside.
Yeah, we just saw Tom take a look behind him there, and again, that's how much horse he's got on a relatively inexperienced horse, and she's just got the race in the bag, and probably just gets a little lonely, I guess. And Tom tries to correct her. And again, she starts drifting here. Whereas I think this is where the problem started. The last fence is folded up against the thing. They run through there. She's probably like, well, what am I doing?
Right.
And you can see her here. She starts lugging left, and then the cone is there. She sees that and ducks right, and Tom goes off. Yeah, terrible way to lose a race. There's a million and one ways to lose a race now. If there was a rail there, I think she sees the rail, straightens up, and runs home and wins handily, and none of this, we're not saying anything.
Right.
But the cones are there to keep the steeplechasers off the inside part where the flat horses go, and they're in play. If she goes to the other side of the cone, she's off course and disqualified anyway. So it's a shame. I talked to Tom. He was, he was mad at himself, but again, it's happening way faster than you and I think when we're watching it, and talking to him, he said, I asked him if he'd do anything different. He said he would have just held her up a little longer, had her with company a little longer. He said, I had gears. I knew what I had underneath me. I could have waited with the other horse all the way around the turn and then run on. So.
And let's just backtrack 20 seconds and into the race. And I think her quote was, Carrie Bjorn's quote was, she throttled some really nice horses. So she's a big threat in here. What do you got? I mean, this as good as anybody. Who's winning the Jonathan Shepherd?
I'm trying to find a little value. I went with Rhodesia in the 8 on the bottom. I just think he'll move forward. He was 4th in that race in the Smithwick, and I think he'll improve a lot off that. He was 2nd in this last year. He's won over the course before. Really needed the last. It was first start in almost a year. I would be a little more confident if it didn't rain at all. I think he's even though every horse in here is a foreign bred, well, a lot of them want the firmer ground. Okay. And that's why they're here. They didn't want the soft ground over there, and he strikes me, he seems like kind of a flat horse, a turf horse kind of ability, and he can really run home. I think the Mean Queen, I've got second choice. I put Jibril Faro, he's the veteran of the
Joe's
bunch.
brother, Sean, Riverdee Stable, Sean Clancy.
Yeah, he's the veteran of the bunch, and he always fires his race. He kind of gets beat, unfortunately. He gets a huge swing in the weights from Baltimore Bucko, I think, for the first time in a long time. He gets kind of the advantage in the weights. And again, I think he can run well. Carey's barn has always been very high on French Light. He could technically move forward a little bit, but Baltimore Bucko just ran away from him there the other day. Right. I don't know if he's going to run that much better, and be interested to see what they do tactically. I think they'll put Baltimore Bucko on the lead again, but he's certainly not going to be, the forgotten kind of afterthought horse.
And I'm just looking, just as a flat track guy handicapping steeplechase racing, you look at the PPs in here, and it's no shock when you see Baltimore Bucko. You want a horse that can run on the flat. Baltimore Bucko wires a Smithwick last time. Here's French Light trying to close from 20 lengths out of it. At the end of the day, I don't care how much weight you're holding or what, that tactical speed is going to play.
Yeah, for sure. And again, you can't leave a horse that much to do. We from talking to Patty Young, former champion jockey forever, he would say, at Saratoga, you want to drop in, but not drop out.
Right.
So you drop in, but don't get so far behind that you cannot make up the ground. And that's key. It's where they are with a lap to go is really important. And I think you can really, that you'll know a lot with a lap to go who's in a spot and who has too much work to do.
Joe Clancy with the Saratoga Special. This is horse racing Wednesday and Saturdays, right? Is there a light at the end of the tunnel or what? You just wrapped up sales week. I know you said that, where you plowed through on a daily basis. Back to the good old days. How you holding up here this summer?
Yeah, we're pretty good now. Yes, you can see a little light at the end of the tunnel, and we're Wednesday, Saturday through the rest of the meet. Today's paper's kind of fun. It's got Stormy on the cover.
Yep.
I mean, what a performance. Just really fun to see. It's part of the fun of Saratoga to see horses like that come back, and it's why we're here.
I always say, people ask me, who do you like today? And I go, what day is it? I don't know.
Right.
I mean, you would know better than any. I've said it. Tom and I had a fun talk about it. Sean did too. And if you're not familiar with the Saratoga Special, which is as steeped in Saratoga over the last 20 years as anything, that sets the standard. That paper starts every morning with 0 pages. And whenever I did say to Tom, I was a little heated. I said, man, Tom, when our day/night wrapped up around like 1 a.m. He told me like 4 or 5 years ago. He said, yeah, our deadline's like 10 p.m. I'm saying, well, come on now.
10 p.m. is the target.
The target.
So we don't hit it. We hit it sometimes.
But that paper starts with scratch every day, 0, and then you see the great product on a daily basis that comes out. So a lot goes into that.
Yeah, for sure. But that's part of the vibe of it. I think if you did way too much ahead of time, you would.
It wouldn't be as fun. It probably wouldn't be as good.
No.
So there's something to be said for last minute kind of thing, and that's what it is. But find it at the track or all around town. Hotels, shops, all that kind of good stuff. Joe Clancy, always appreciate it. Always good to see you. Good luck today in the Shepherd as well.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, Joe Clancy, Saratoga Special. This is horse racing. That'll bring us to our first break here on the Wednesday edition of Racing Across America. When we come back, Mike Welsch of the DRF. Stay tuned.
Welcome to the West. I'm Scott Varley at Saratoga's latest and greatest high-rise luxury condo. Starting in the mid-fives, every condo here has 2 bedrooms and 2 baths and upgrades just like this. Check out these oversized private balconies. We also have a gym, a private lounge, and get this, a heated parking garage. To make a reservation for your private condo at the West, call or text me. I'm Scott Varley at 518-281-6808.
Welcome to Albany County, an incredible destination to live, work, and play, with easy connections to more than a dozen cities from our vibrant modern airport. It's a short trip downtown to a hive of culture and amusement, from world-class shows at the newly renovated Times Union Center to reliving the past at the New York State Museum. From outdoor recreation to shopping to nightlife, Albany County has something for everyone. We'll see you soon.
For 4 generations and looking forward to a 5th, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued their 99-year tradition of delighting their faithful following with the finest authentic Italian recipes made with the freshest ingredients. Some things have changed in the last 99 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
Welcome back to the Wednesday edition of Racing Across America. Brian Nadeau with you on an overcast now day here in Saratoga. I think the rain might be done a little bit for the day. We hope to run the Jonathan Shepherd to kick off the card, the Grade 1, thanks to Joe Clancy of This Is Horse Racing and the Saratoga Special. And right now the Bolton Landing for 2-year-old fillies is on the turf. We'll see what happens. Like I said, it's stopped raining here now. I knock on wood, I think we're okay, but we'll see. I'm going to bring in Mike Welsch in a second for the Daily Racing Form, then to wrap it up a little later, Orlando Noda is going to finish out the show. As I mentioned, a special thanks to Joe, who's as steeped in steeplechase and Saratoga for that matter, with the Saratoga Special. And I'll bring in my next guest, Mike Welsch. He's been on a few times with me, the DRF. Mike, we're winding through a summer in Saratoga here. Alabama is upon us. Thanks for stopping by.
My pleasure. Hopefully the rain will hold off the rest of the day. I'm not so confident that's going to happen, but we'll see. Yeah,
you were out this morning. Just talk a little bit of the people that are going to be firing on this car, the big pick six carryover. How'd the track look? I know you mentioned somebody worked pretty snappy at least.
Yeah, we only had 4 works this morning. The track was sealed and it was on the muddy side for most of the morning. But about 9:15, a horse worked out of the gate in 35. It's a maiden 2-year-old that we've had work fast before. So when he's in, and I imagine it's going to be soon, it'll be in the report. But that being said, I mean the track was kind of, because it was sealed, was packed down pretty hard.
Yeah.
Whether that's going to carry over and be speedy by the time we get the first post, I mean we got a lot of time between now and then.
Sure.
So who knows what effect the weather's going to have and what decisions the maintenance crew is going to have and how they're going to groom this track as we go forward.
And just for some bookkeeping for today, race 5, 6, and 8 are off the turf, and I would think they'll make a decision on the Bolton landing well before the pick 6 to give everybody a chance to adjust. If it is off the turf, we hope they can keep it on. I'm sure that's their intention.
It's not going to take much more rain to move it off, is my guess.
Okay.
I mean, it's just an educated guess.
Have we heard any course condition or speculation probably on the softer side?
I'm sure they're going to call it good, because
Right.
that's what they usually do, unless it's really,
Yeah.
gets really bogged down, but they have to use it for a graded stake.
Of course.
I mean, if it gets any worse than the good, I'm sure that race is going to come off.
It certainly was on the firm side this past Saturday. We're going to bring up footage of Got Stormy doubling up in the 4-star Dave. She won it in 2019. She beat the boys again on Saturday. And she's a gal that, once she's on her game, Mike, is pretty darn tough. Here you see her in mid-pack. She's the 6th with Tyler Gaffney. She's 3rd on the hedge here right now. A powerhouse performance on a horse that you said kind of tipped her hand coming in a little bit.
Yeah, she's been working terrific over on the Oklahoma turf course. She's always been a pretty good workhorse, but there's been times that I've seen her that she hasn't been at her best. But she was really good coming into this race. We know she loves this turf course, and she got the primo trip here, obviously, sitting behind the leaders like that. Got a clear run all the way around, and here she comes. I mean, it was everything fell together perfectly for her here, and she took every advantage of the opportunity. Here comes Brad Cox's horse, finishing strong on the outside. He worked well too. He just got a little bit too far back and had too much to do. But as you can see, he's making up the ground on her at the end. But it was Got Stormy's day, and it's a great story.
If you're going to be over at the meet, that's the right one to pick, right? I mean, Mark Cassidy has been kind of threatening, kind of to break the door down. I've been struggling a little bit, some runner-ups and horses running well, not winning, to double up. Mike Callahan on the Handicappers Report made a great point. It's very hard to get horses to get back to their best form after they go off form a little bit. And she kind of lulled a little bit last year. Mark cut her back to turf sprinting to kind of get her going again. This was awesome to see. I mean, 2 years removed from her, kind of coming out party to double up in this race.
Yeah, no, I mean, all the credit in the world to Mark and his crew to have her back in form like this. And, he hadn't won a race up until then, but frankly, he hadn't run that many horses here.
Sure.
He hasn't had the presence here this summer that he's had other summers, but like you said, it's a great way to get off the duck to win a graded stake like that.
No doubt. Alabama week here, and they run that on Saturday. 3-year-old filly's going 1.25 miles. I know you talked to Mike Maker. He's going to bring Army Wife in here, who's definitely on the improve, a little flying under the radar a little bit. We'll bring up the Iowa Oaks in a really strong performance. Before this race, she won the Black-Eyed Susan at Pimlico. As I mentioned, Mike, a little under the radar, but she's never been in better form. And I think after the CCA, Mike, you're allowed to at least have she's the one down inside. Maybe Malathat's a little vulnerable after the first loss of her career. How about Army Wife coming in on Saturday?
Well, you have to respect the form she's in. You also have to respect the meat that Mike Maker's having. Yeah. Everything he touches seems to be turning to gold here, just about everything. So, horses like this, I mean, you look at her buyer numbers, she's gotten steadily better every start for like 5 or 6 starts in a row, starting last year and moving on to her 3-year-old season. So, again, that's something you just never know what the limit of this improvement could be. And, of course, the key question on Saturday for her and everybody else in here is the 1.25 miles.
Well, that's it, yeah.
The distance could be the great equalizer here. The trip will also have a lot to say in the outcome. Obviously, Malathat coming off a pretty difficult, hard trip last time and getting run down by Maracuja, who took back, waited for the speed to do each other in, and then picked them up at the end. But they, too, have to answer that 1.25 mile question. So, and that could be the key.
It's a lot like handicapping the Kentucky Derby on the first Saturday in May, and it is a guessing game until they do it. Have you seen anything that says one way or the other? These are some of these gals. You would think Malathat, a big galloping kind of filly, would like this trip, but again, you've got to see it, right?
Yeah, she does look like a filly that would like the extra distance, but it's hard to say in the morning whether a horse is going to get 1.25 miles unless you see one of those works where they just gallop out forever, like we've seen before some derbies that kind of maybe tip their hands. But mostly these two fillies have been in maintenance mode more or less since the Oaks, since it's only a quick turnaround, relatively quick turnaround, so you're not going to ask too much of them. They're fit, they're ready to go. Again, I'm sure Malathat is going to be the favorite once again. Yeah. I mean, everybody saw that race.
Deservedly so.
Everybody saw the trips, and so we'll see. We'll see how the place scenario plays out. I'm going to guess that Johnny B is not going to be as anxious to get to the lead today as he wound up being in the Oaks. But she had the rail. They haven't drawn the post yet,
right?
So we don't know. Again, sometimes you're a little more committed when you have the rail than if you're outside there. So that could be a bit of a factor too in deciding how this race plays out from start to finish.
I was in Kentucky, fortunate enough to be there for a couple weeks leading up to the Oaks and Derby, and I'm the novice, you're the expert, but I could even tell that she's a striking individual that works very well, and she was, to me at least, a real star Derby week. She's a very, very good looker.
Yeah, she looks the part in the morning. She trained really well coming into the Oaks. It was a shame to see her get beat as well as she did, and it's just how the race played out. But take nothing away from Maracuja.
No, because let's take a look at it. We'll bring it up here. She was involved early.
She kind of made 2 runs. Yeah, she was up early and then opted to take back when Clariere made that middle move like that kind of changed the whole complexion of the race. So
here it is. Malathat kind of fell on the lead on the inside, kind of maybe sort of had to be with the post position. So there's Maracuja, the 2. You saw her up there early. Now she drops back under Ricardo Santana. Mike, you have to give her credit too, though. You don't see this often. Involved early, come around late. I say touch gold in the 97 Belmont.
When I first started working for the Racing Form as a chart caller, Eli Chiat was my mentor, and we taught. And he was a long time, DRF guy, had been around. He'd seen hundreds of thousands of races, and he says horses just don't run that kind of pattern where you see them up early, then back, and then come up again. You never see. It's like a flow chart. They either go forward or they go backwards in races, and you look at their PPs. So for her to do this and come wide like that too, it was a big effort on her part. But obviously, Malathat got hard used early, and it set things up right here the way they're going to finish now. You figure at this point Maracuja's going to blow right by her. Malathat hung in there gamely.
Digs in,
yeah, she sure did. I mean, it was a great performance in defeat as well. So, but you see there was only 2 others in the race. They finished way ahead of the other 2, so that's usually a sign that it was a pretty good effort on both their parts when there's a big gap back to the third or the rest of the field.
The gal in the middle there, kind of coming off the bridle late, was Clariere, the Stone Street color. She's going to be back on Saturday too. I was at Fairgrounds all winter. We saw Travel Column and Clariere, and I really. I didn't think I was a homer. I just thought they were 2 really darn good 3-year-old fillies. She really hasn't answered the bell since the Fairgrounds, and frankly, Travel Column hasn't either. So maybe we overrated those fillies. She's back again on Saturday. She's got to step it up, right?
Yeah, I mean, again, it was hard to predict that race would develop the way it did with a 4-horse field, but she had trained very well. Going into the Oaks, I thought she was definitely could. If anyone was going to spring the upset, it was going to be her coming off the works that she had shown leading into the race. So it'll be interesting to see how it plays out. Like I said, it should be a whole lot different than the Oaks, but there'll be some others stepping in there. Will Secret is coming in, and again, the post position drawer may. Play a part in how the race plays out. And then again, I hate to keep repeating myself, but a 1.25 miles is the ultimate hole card in here, and or a wild card in here.
Yeah, and they're going to draw that later on this afternoon, so that big Alabama card will be out. And, Mike, in 2021, or the day and age we're living in racing, you could kind of see this race almost playing out like a turf race, slow early, fast late, or faster late. A bunch field off the far turn, and then it turns into racing tactics. We don't think maybe a field of 6 or 7. I think.
I think that's what they're leading up to, and I mean, and when races develop and turn out like that, it's hard to bet anybody if you think that's the way it's going to happen. It's hard to bet anybody with any real confidence, especially to take a short price. So, those that are going to come back on Malathat, you're probably going to be around 6 to 5, 7 to 5 again. I mean, you think she's the best horse, but again, how the race plays out, 1.25 miles. It's a lot of questions to ask to take a short price. And I'm looking more forward to watching the race.
Yeah, I tend to agree with that. A lot of unanswered questions, and it's just the nature of racing. Malathat starts at whatever it was 1 to 5 in the CCA as an absolute head and shoulders undefeated Kentucky Oaks winner above the division, and if it's in a weird sort of way, it's a put up or shut up race on Saturday, because if Maracuja doubles up, all of a sudden all bets are off, and we've got a heck of a race to the title here for the second half of the year. For now, a gal that was, like I said, 1-9 Clubhouse leader, 4 weeks ago.
Absolutely, and they don't run these races on paper. We saw that there.
Good point.
We saw it the other day. We had a 1-5 or 2-5 shot get beat here on Sunday. So they still got to go out there and do it, no matter how good they look in the morning, no matter how good they look in their past performances. Again, trips are everything in most races, and but there's no clear cut loose on the lead or disputed pace. This is your closer. So we'll see how it plays out.
What do you think, Mike, just quickly overall before we let you go? How's the main track played throughout the meet? I feel like there's been a couple days when the inside's been pretty good, been pretty speedy, the right spot to be, a little bit of a conveyor belt.
And maybe the other way around too, a few days. I thought, now Sunday, we had a very small sample. There were only 4 dirt races. It appeared after watching all 4 and assessing how they played out, and one of them was the 1-5 favorite, was down near the inside and got picked up late. You could have maybe made a case that the track got better the further away from the rail. But again, with such a small sample, it's hard to make that call. But when one of those losers is 1-5, it maybe makes it a little better sample. So that was my take on it. But again, that's history. That was Sunday.
Right. Well,
now
what about a day like today?
Rain, you got maybe a drying out track. So you just have to watch the early races and see.
And we're going to have at least 5 races in the Pick 6 today that are on the main track. We hope only 5 with the feature, the Bolton Landing right now scheduled for the turf. Mike Welsch of the DRF. Check out those workout reports. Just give it a quick hit, Mike. Where can we get them?
DRF.com/clocker will get you to it. You can go to the website and go into the handicapping section, and it'll link you to them as well.
All right, Mike Welsch, DRF. We always appreciate him stopping by on a busy Wednesday, Alabama week here at Saratoga. Bring us to our next break on Racing Across America. When we come back, Orlando Noda is going to stop by. Stay tuned.
Juvenile fillies to 14 of them across the track. Is St. on the way. End of the dance on the outside, broke a little side with broke KK, but meanwhile it's going to be stopped. But running on now, and Somali Lemonade's got 8 to make up. They come to the top of the lane, stop shoving. Maria's got a lot left. Stop shoving. Maria goes on. Sweet Cat is right there. Hard not to right. Royal Body is running on. Past the 8 ball, they come. Stop shoving. Maria for the run. Stood out of her hand right as they come to the 16th. Stephanie's Kitten coming out late. Yes, Stephanie's Kitten coming fast. Stephanie's Kitten, stop shoving Maria. Stephanie's Kitten's watered. Watched the chances, broke smartly, but so did Tara from the Cape. On the inside, Sky Lantern the Grey going well. If he can get through. Sky Lantern the Grey looking for somewhere to run. Wide open. It's Tara from the Cape hanging on. Tara from the Cape tries to go all the way. On the outside now, here comes Flotilla in the light blue. Flotilla is absolutely flying. Watch the chances in there too. But Flotilla has gone right on by. And Flotilla is coming home to score. Flotilla has won it just about 2 in the end. It'll be watch the chances. Summer of fun coming on to finish third. Thank you, man. Yep.
Welcome back to the Wednesday edition of Racing Across America. Brian Nadeau with you. A special thanks to Joe Clancy of the Saratoga Special and Mrs. Horse Racing for stopping by on what is now Jonathan Shepherd Day, formerly the New York Turf Riders. So they're going to kick the card off today with that big pick 6 carryover as well, kicking off in race 5. We're off the turf except for the Bolton Landing right now, and we hope the rain will stay away where we can run that stakes for the 2-year-old fillies on the grass later on in the card. Mike Welsch, we always appreciate Mike stopping by from the DRF, kind of backtracking a little bit with Got Stormy upsetting the 4-star Dave this past Saturday, doubling up against the boys again. She won it in 2019, back to her best this past Saturday in a real powerhouse performance. Talking a little Alabama as well, the big feature on this Saturday. We'll draw that card later today, so stay tuned for that. Should be an awesome card on Saturday, historic 3-year-old filly race. And happy to be joined by my next guest here on Racing Across America. Orlando Noda stops by. Pleasure. Thank you for stopping by, and on your way to another strong Saratoga, huh?
That's the plan.
That's the plan. Well, we're past the halfway point. Week 6 kicks off here. You had a huge summer up here last year, and I think a year later things are going pretty well so far. 3 wins at the meet?
4 wins.
4 wins, excuse me.
Yeah, 4 wins, and overall the barn's been growing, and we're doing fairly well competing against the elites.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough to get your footing up here. I know you. I read an article on you. First of all, talk a little bit about your background and how you got here. I know your dad was an owner trainer and kind of maybe schooled you in the game a little bit.
Yeah, the experience of my dad got me in the horses, and we had a couple horses back in 2012, my brother, and we started out that way. I ended up breeding one of the mares. When that baby turned 2, I ended up moving to Ocala, worked for some outfits, Harley and Lorenzo, Croupies, and then we ended up coming to Saratoga, me and my wife now, to 2017 to Saratoga. We lived the experience here on the backside, and from there on out, I started in New York.
In 2019, right? You went out on your own in 2019, and I'm looking at the stats here, and 11 for 63 in 2019, 28 wins last year, 1.28 in earnings, and 26 wins already at this year, and you've already passed the earnings, so you've progressed pretty nicely since you went out on your own, huh?
Yeah, overall, I think the owners have given me chances. We started out with Drawing Away and Zilla Racing on deal horses, and then people started seeing that we can train horses. And the next step is hopefully caliber good 2-year-olds that you have a hopeful Derby horse.
Sure. You mentioned you've got 42 here, 42 total, 24 here, 18 at Belmont.
That we do.
How is it managing 42 horses? Obviously, you started out as a smaller outfit and you built up to 42. How is it with that many in your care now?
Oh no, it's a teamwork effort with my assistant down at Belmont, and like I take opinions from everyone, a groom, a rider, a hot walker, and that's how I feel success has gotten to where we are today.
Yep. Do you have, in the perfect world, your 3rd year of training as you progress? You mentioned getting better horses. Do you have a number in mind where I'd say I'd love to be at this many horses, or is?
I'm pretty much at where I want to be. One barn full, 50 horses. It's plenty to go off of, and not overstress myself having strings here and there, but for the time being, I think we are comfortable. Okay.
I noticed you've shipped in some horses at Monmouth as well, so just kind of shuttling around the East Coast a little bit.
Yeah, you just got to put them where they win and be competitive. Not everyone can run at Saratoga, but that's the initial plan, that put them where they win.
You've done a lot of good work with claims, and I will call them private purchases, I guess, between you and your brother. Like, how does it all go down, and maybe a horse? How do you identify a horse that, hey, we want to look into claiming, or we want to say, hey, is this horse available? Talk a little bit about the process that you go through to find, horses that you think would fit your program.
Oh, it's a long process in reference to watching replays, just figuring out if they can suit where we are running at, be it New York. And overall, I think it's a teamwork effort, even between Zilla, my brother, my dad, seeing if the obvious drop or if there's room for improvement. I think that's the catch to claiming races.
Zilla has been around for a while, very prolific, very successful partnership. How is it working for them? And I'm sure to have them in your corner is a pretty nice, pat on the back.
No, it is, and like I said, they were the ones who started me out with deal horses, and then they ended up claiming some horse with me as pay horses. But this is the first year that they bought some yearlings for me. We have a 2-year-old in training for them, so it's an ongoing process. But I think that's the next steps in this business.
On your path, you got to start.
Right.
I don't say at the bottom, but you've got to start and show you can prove your worth and graduate to the better horses.
Of course, you have to graduate to the better horses, but I think you do have to go through from the bottom up. That no one can tell you, hey, you haven't done this or you haven't done that.
Right.
I feel.
You're to Blame was a rousing winner earlier in the meet. We're going to bring up footage of that. A real strong, I believe, 7-length win, and that was the first time in your care. A horse that had a lot of back class. And then showed it up here. I know you ran him back in the stakes, but we're going to show this big allowance optional claiming win. Talk about getting him into the barn and getting him back to his best.
No, the horse showed he can run, and back class does play a big role in our claiming game, and future interest is for a stallion, and that was the initial concept of purchasing this privately, and. He ran a big race. He's always run marathons, and he said, "Look, this is the option. Let's try to run him." We were shooting initially for the other stake, but since this race came up, and ended up trying him, and he showed up.
Yeah, big win here, first time in the barn, running off against a pretty sharp group of optional claimers, and a real getting back to his best kind of race. You mentioned 4 wins at the meet. We'll show Flat Awesome Jenny coming up in a second. You won on opening day, right, with Smiling Brian.
Yes,
in the turf race. So the barn is showing some versatility as well, winning on the grass, winning on the turf. We'll bring right back here Flat Awesome Jenny, talk a little bit about her win earlier in the meet.
Yeah, so Flat Awesome Jenny was when we claimed her, we run her back and she went for us. And we actually had an entry in that race. One was a front runner and one was a closer, and front runner just stumbled out of the gate, but she got odds on favorite for just to get up on the wire, and that's pretty much, we have two wins off the claim with her, and she got claimed away, but just put them where they win, and I think that's the game plan.
Is that important as an up and coming barn to you mentioned she did get claimed from you, but you have to run them where they give you the best chance to win, and converse, and along the same lines, that makes you look that much better too. I mean, people need to take notice.
Yeah, no, don't get me wrong. There's some owners that want to be protective, but overall, I think Zilla has been a more of aggressive trainer that they want their syndicate to win.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, that's how we've shown up. And it was just a nod at the end of the day, just like Small Brian, just like Flat Awesome Jenny. We got him at the last nod.
You are in later today, and it's significant. I mentioned that big pick 6 carryover, a colt named Susie. Takes the MSW drop, and I always think in the New York bred ranks, and we always hear that the maiden special weight to maiden claiming drop is the biggest in racing. I always think in the New York bred ranks, it's a little bigger. He hasn't shown, a lot on the main track, but the turf races have been a little bit better. A big drop today. What do you think of his chances? The last race of the card and the pick 6 sequence as well.
Yeah, we put him in for the tag. I think it's going to be more competitive. Shows early speed in the morning workout, so I've always thought he was a distance horse, be his statue, big horse, long stride, but we're going to try him one time sprinting and play it out from there.
Tomorrow you've got an MTO runner as well, and I think you're probably not complaining about the overcast skies here today, and we think with a potential washout, Carrick will probably get in tomorrow if, obviously if the race is washed off the turf. Was a very good second and a 50 starter last time. Talk about her chances if it should come off tomorrow.
No, I think Erod knows the filly, and overall I think she's a little filly, but she handles the distance like a champ, so she's training forward, and I think we should be 1-2 there.
Irod and Orlando Noda have been pretty good up here and pretty good overall. 40% together from a 30-horse sample and 5 for 10 up here. I mean, obviously he's a world-class rider, but is it safe to say when you reach out for him that it's go time?
Oh, that's a relationship that we've built with him and his agent, that when we tell him, hey, I think we got a live one,
Yeah.
he rides them all the way to the wire.
Right. Friday, you mentioned Here Comes Jackie up here. Enter. Talk a little bit about that one, and I know you said you kind of feel that's your best chance in the next few days.
Yeah, no, overall, I think Jackie ran a huge race last race, just got bottled up, didn't have nowhere to go. The owner were maybe suspicious about stretching out, even though she won at 7 and that stretched her out. I think she handled the distance really well just by losing by 1 length.
Mm-hmm.
And luckily she's won 2 over the slop, so I think that's the more competitive.
Rain?
Yeah.
Before we let you go, it's it's a gambling sport. We're a gambling network. We always like to try to get a horse or two. Is there anybody left at the meet? I know we've got still about 40% of the meet to go. Is there anybody you're really excited to run, or even a 2-year-old, or anybody in general that's in the barn that's tearing the barn down? You're looking forward to getting over there.
No, overall, I think the whole barn is doing really good. I don't have a specific favorite right now, but I just keep my eyes out for the best possible spot, and I think we just gotta play it by ear and put them where they can win.
Are you active at the claim box throughout the rest of the meet, always looking, and if something fits the program?
Oh no, the claim box is a shake on every horse, and that's right now. I've only been able to get 2 horses, and I've thrown maybe 50 tickets.
Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of 8-way, 9-way shakes up here, right? It's pretty competitive.
Everyone wants a horse, even if it's a little bit overvalued.
Right.
Everyone wants to have a Saratoga runner.
Yeah, no doubt. And we've got plenty of time. Orlando, I really appreciate you stopping by. Great, I was going to say start to the meet, but we're past that now. Good luck for the rest of the meet. 4 wins and counting, 9 last year at Saratoga, 3 the year before, and the barn's already about to surpass everything it did last year. So congratulations, well done, and keep it up.
Thank you, sir.
Appreciate it. Orlando Noda here on the Wednesday edition of Racing Across America. One more break. When we come back, we'll wrap it up. Stay tuned.
For 4 generations and looking forward to a 5th, Bruce Cerrone and his family have continued their 99-year tradition of delighting their faithful following with the finest authentic Italian recipes made with the freshest ingredients. Some things have changed in the last 99 years, but not Pinnell's commitment to the finest in Italian cuisine. Pinnell's Italian Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, just minutes from the track.
Best place to find your favorite teams, your favorite food, daily drink specials, and wagering on live horse racing? Legends Field Sports Bar, 711 Central Avenue, Albany. Get your game on day or night with 75 flat screen TVs, tournament-style pool tables, a private banquet room, and live horse racing. So if someone asks you, where's the best sports bar in the capital region? Tell them Legends Field Sports Bar, inside the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.
I'm on. All right. Welcome back to the Wednesday edition of Racing Across America. Brian Nadeau with you. A special thanks to Orlando Noda for stopping by, and he's on his way to, and I tried to change him there. 4 wins at the meet. Like I said, he had 9 last year, and the barn just keeps on firing. So he's got 3 in the next 3 days. He's got 1 today in the main body of the field, and the nightcap too, which I think is important because it ends that big pick 6 carryover. He's got 1 on an MTO list tomorrow, which is a very good chance probably that one gets in. And then he's got 1 on Friday, as he mentioned. Here Comes Jackie, that he likes a lot. So 3 in the next 3 days. So thank you to him for stopping by. Mike Welsch has been a regular here every other Wednesday, and always appreciate him. And Joe Clancy, it was good to catch up with Joe, longtime friend, former boss in an earlier life. And Joe and Sean and Tom Law put the hard miles in the steeplechase. The Saratoga special. This is horse racing. Wednesday, Sunday editions, and today really front and center with the former New York Turf Riders, now the present Jonathan Shepard, the Grade 1 steeplechase race to kick off the card today at 1:05 in the p.m. So a big thanks to all those guys for stopping by. I say it ad nauseum, but I really need to. It goes a heck of a long way when people can make the time to sit next to me live on a Wednesday, Thursday, the last few years, several years on a Saturday. It's easier said than done. It's hectic and busy here in the morning at Saratoga, and anybody that makes the time, I just have the utmost thanks and appreciation for. Before I let you go, another person I have the utmost thanks and appreciation for is my good friend and colleague, Seth Demero. And I always joke that he's the hardest working guy in racing, but it's not really a joke, because he is. He's the face of OTB, and he just puts in the hard yards, and he's been doing it for years, and he just does a hell of a job. And frankly, I probably wouldn't be here today if he didn't reach out to me years ago and said, hey, do you want to stop by, and kind of got me in here and opened up the door for me. And so I don't say it enough, and I wish I did, how thankful I am to Seth. And the whole point of this is that Seth is up on this ABR, America's Best Racing, Fan Choice Awards for the favorite TV personality. And he's 9th right now, which I think is pretty darn cool, because, a lot of these people that are ahead of him are on, national outlets and different avenues that, you see on national TV and all that. There it is there, okay? And our fearless leader, Mr. Mero, is 9th, I believe, in this voting right now. So just get on there and vote for Seth. If you want to vote twice for Seth, I don't think we're going to track you down and throw you in prison or anything like that. By all means, fire away, because he's 9th, and I don't know if there's 8 more people better than him. So like I said, Seth is as good as there is, certainly as good as we have. There's no doubt about that. And I just can't say enough at the job he does on a day-in, day-out basis for Capital OTB, and, racing in the Capital District, for that matter. I mean, between Equid Daily and the shows he does here on OTB TV, he's just second to none to me. And sometimes I think we take it for granted. So, a golf clap for Seth. Get on there and vote for him, because, no disrespect to anybody else on there or anybody else ahead of Seth. I'll take my chances with him. So get on there and vote for Seth, please, before that contest ends. It's pretty cool just to see him, recognized, to be quite honest with you. I thought that was really cool. I think he said that in a tweet himself, to kind of honored to be on there with so many other, stalwarts of this industry and our industry of what we do here. So get on there and vote for Seth, and give him the credit and just due that he deserves. So I think that's a good way to wrap here on the Wednesday edition of Racing Across America. Brian Nadeau with you. Week 6, how is that possible? Here at Saratoga, Alabama week. They're going to draw that card later today. A huge card on Saturday. And like I said, a huge, big pick 6 carryover today. I think we'll get $1 million in the pool, about $1.50 in the kitty. Load up your Capital OTB Bets account and fire on that. 3 races off the turf in the sequence, but we think the featured Bolton Landing Race 9 will be on the turf. Regardless, fire. There's going to be a lot of money in that pool. $1 minimum. They're firing already on the pick 6. And I think it's great that they brought it back. So that's it for me. Mike Callahan's going to be with you all afternoon with the bankroll. So check in that if you're involved. Best of luck with that. Mike's had a pretty darn good meet, and he's given a lot of money back to the players, so that's always great to see. But I will get out of here. I'll be right back with you tomorrow morning with my buddy and colleague Anthony Mormino for another Handicappers Report and a gambling version of Racing Across America. Thanks for everybody. See you tomorrow.
You've been watching Racing Across America. Racing Across America has been brought to you by... Racing Across America is brought to you by Pinnell's Restaurant, a Saratoga tradition since 1922. 284 Jefferson Street, Saratoga, just minutes from the track. The Leah Auto Group, Leah Cars for life. Find them on the web at leahcars.com. The new Capital OTB wagering platform. Bet any place, anytime with the new Capital OTB wagering platform. CapitalOTBBet.com, the premier wagering site in New York State. And the Clubhouse Racebook. Can't make it to the track? Make it to the Clubhouse Racebook, 711 Central Avenue, Albany.